The question that came up was that is there a product comparison? The conversation that we've been having is that the service offered is entirely complementary to all of the other activities that a group or an organization or a business or an individual will do to raise funds. What we offer is entirely complementary. So, just as when you sell your house, you advertise with a board, with the presence in the shop of the real estate agent's window, with flyers, with mail drops, with a website listing, because you don't know where your buyer is coming from, exactly the same applies to us. What you do is you raise funds by a whole range of mechanisms, you engage by a whole range of mechanisms, and the service that we provide is entirely complementary. In that context, the following slide does show a simple product comparison from the view of an individual. So let's quickly run through this. So when you use our service, you know exactly where your funds go, you track it, you know what they're being used for, and you elect to do this. With some of the real world and some online, this doesn't always happen. This isn't to say that these things aren't occurring at all. There are instances where they do occur, but as a rule, it's not as strong as it is with us. We give you greater returns direct to grassroots for your interests and needs. And we've discussed this at length, and a couple of ones to consider are: you set up the campaigns, you elect which campaigns to support, the funds are going direct to the organisation, the interest earned on the aggregated fund is going back to your interests at your grassroots. One of the differences is you can have fun whilst raising funds or supporting the fundraising of family and friends. So a lot of other online services are just donate, just pay a fee or whatever. This often happens in the real world as well, and whilst there are raffles and that sort of thing, fundraising isn't fun. It's considered to be a task that's often time consuming and a little bit burdensome. And one of the next differences, the funds that you raise are for your interest in your community. It's compliant, it's transparent, it's safe, it's secure, and your privacy is respected. And there's videos on all of these for if you wish to follow up. Compliance is a big issue in the real world and in other online fundraising. Transparency is a big issue in the real world and in some of the other online fundraising. One of the big ones we do is to try to make it the whole thing as convenient and as easy to use for your needs and your priorities. A simple example is the integration of the different payment mechanisms to make it easy for you to contribute. Contrast this with some of the other online fundraising sites, and contrast this with some of the payments that you have to make in the real world. And one of the last ones is better use of volunteers' time. We're all familiar with the need to stand there at the barbecue raise funds, to stand there outside on a cold, wet, miserable day and sell raffle tickets. We've seen in the demonstrations it's minutes to set up an account, a few minutes to set up a fundraising campaign, and a few minutes to set up a fundraising activity. We've also discussed the comparable risks in terms of, if you're doing the barbecue, you have to buy everything, you have to prepay for it. If you're doing the raffles, you have to prepay for all the publishing and that sort of thing. You don't actually know how many you're going to sell and what the return is and that sort of thing. So here is a simple, straightforward product comparison for those that wish this type of information. The important point is that you will do a range of online and real-world fundraising, and everything we've talked about here is complementary to what you do already. Any questions and comments around that?